Fox 5 Honor Flight Southern Nevada is sponsored by America First Credit Union, Designated Defense Security Services, and the Las Vegas Raiders.
Welcome back, everyone. We now take you to the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall. It stands as a symbol of America's honor and recognition of the men and women who served and sacrificed their lives in the Vietnam War. More than 58,000 men and women who gave their lives or remain missing. Now, our group of veterans stood before the wall, found the names of fallen friends, and paid tribute to those who never came home.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Valley Vietnam veteran Michael McGovern searched and found war buddy Robert Shoemate on the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall.
Robert, thank you for serving, buddy. I miss you. Rest in peace, my friend. I made it back.
Stephen Hayes found a fallen high school friend from Pekin Community High School in Illinois. His name, Billy E. Myers.
Nobody messed with him. He was a good street fighter.
Hayes found the name of a second classmate, Johnny Clayton. In all, 11 students from Hayes High School lost their lives in the Vietnam War.
There's too many names.
Oh God, it's just, I've got so many friends and names on that wall.
Pilot Jack Redmond flew more than 130 missions in Vietnam and earned the Distinguished Flying Cross. It's awarded for heroism or extraordinary achievement while flying.
The airplane I flew was the one that flew the most into North Vietnam, dropping bombs. It was the F-105 Thunder Chief, affectionately known as the Thud. The two names I pointed to over there were Bill Barthelmess and Jack Farr. Bill Barthelmess was one of my best friends. And they were in the flight in front of me as we departed the target area, and Bart's airplane had been damaged, and Jack Farr was moving in close to him to check him out, and Bart said, get away, and the two airplanes collided canopy to canopy. We lost 6 airplanes that day, so it was a bad day. It was 1965.
And while the wall brings back those kinds of memories, some vets on this trip told me the memorial isn't about death. It's about life and how these service members lived life. If you could say anything about these guys you lost to the people who are watching this, what would you want them to know about your friends who passed?
They were loyal Americans, and they were doing the same thing I was doing because we love this country.
The wall is here to remember. And on this day, decades later, we don't forget Robert Shoemate, Billy E. Myers, Johnny Clayton, Bill Barthelmess, Jack Farr, and the more than 58,000 other people on the wall who gave their lives in service to our country. And the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall was officially dedicated in 1982. Emotions our veterans carried made their way with them as we traveled to Arlington National Cemetery. It is the final resting place of nearly 430,000 service members, veterans, and their families. And one of the most popular sites is the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. Since 1921, it's been a final resting place for World War I service members. Among the unknowns from later wars added in 1958 and 1984. Our local veterans had the honor of laying a wreath in a special ceremony. And this honor is available for students and honor flights around the world. The president also lays a wreath on Memorial Day every year. Another memorial that gives you a pause for reflection is at the Pentagon. The National 9/11 Pentagon Memorial honors the lives lost 25 years ago. The U.S. experienced the worst incident of terrorism in history. And today, the memorial pays tribute to the fallen, both on the plane that flew into the side of the Pentagon and those working inside. The flowers, the silence, and the benches all mark the lives lost on September 11, 2001, when a group of terrorists attacked the United States of America. The Pentagon was the third attack that day.
How many terrorists were there in the plane?
There were 5 terrorists on this plane. They are not represented here because we don't care about them.
Islamic radical terrorist who hates Americans, who hates Christians, sat in that airport lounge and saw these children with their moms and dads, saw these children with their teachers who were on a special field trip, and said, "We do not care. We are going to kill and murder all of these people."
These benches represent the 184 lives lost. The first one belongs to 3-year-old Dana Falkenberg, traveling with her 8-year-old sister Zoe and her parents. You can see the flowers being left behind. They were the youngest to die that day at the Pentagon. And there were also 3 11-year-olds killed on the plane. They were heading home to California after a science fair. Here in Las Vegas, we remember former Palo Verde High School teacher Barbara Edwards. She was traveling home after a friend's wedding in Connecticut. Every year, a moment of silence is held on campus to reflect on her memory.
The benches are oriented so that if you're looking at the person's name, which represents the bench, and you look up and you see the sky, they were on the airplane. If you go down further and you look at the bench and it's in this direction, and you're reading the person's name and you're facing the building, they were in the building.
There were 1,100 different renderings for the memorial. This one was chosen for a lot of reasons, one being remembering each individual. What do you want Southern Nevadans or America to know about this many years later?
It's always a great question because it's 25 years later, and we talk about remembering where we were that day and what we were doing, and if you were born and of age, you remember. But it's the next generations, the ones that come here from the schools, the young kids that don't understand what it was like that day and how we were brought together as a nation. And we always talk about on September 12th and September 13th, we were all Americans.
Still ahead, mail call is another tradition honor flight veterans get to experience. And for one vet and his wife, letters from strangers meant more than they could imagine.
For my grandson. A letter from my grandson.
Yours from your grandson?
Yeah.
Mr. Richard White, 80,
I can't.
served in the Army from 1966
I can't do this.
1968. Served in Vietnam, was an infantry rifleman in the 1st Cavalry for 10 months.
7 years old. My God, I can't believe this.
As you saw right there, mail call on the flight home is very emotional for our veterans. They receive a package of cards and letters showing their appreciation for those in the service. And I caught up with veteran Bob Dworkin after he got back from the trip. He waited until he got home to open those letters.
Oh, look at this. Look at this. Here are pictures that children colored and made. This was attached to that one.
The Honor Flight Southern Nevada trip continued Thursday at the Henderson home of Bob Dworkin and his wife Barbara.
I love this one. The pieces of paper to make the stripes on a flag.
Robert Dworkin, 82, Air Force, 1965 to 1969.
On the plane ride home from touring war memorials in Washington, D.C., the group got mail call, cards and letters from back home, symbolizing when service members got greetings from home during wartime. Bob Dworkin was a little overwhelmed by so many cards and letters, so he waited until he got home to open them. The couple has been slowly working their way through a big stack and showed us some of them.
The Vietnam War was a difficult time for our country, and you served us proudly. Because of veterans like you, today our nation stands strong. I salute you. Kansas City, Leanne from Kansas City. Oh my goodness.
Bob is still a practicing accountant. He says before going over to Vietnam, he worked in El Segundo, California, dealing with money that was sent for different operations of troops.
I am very grateful for what you have done to keep us safe.
And his honor flight trip continues because he still hadn't opened all of the cards and letters before we left.
They're nice. They're very nice.
The children don't really understand what it is that they're writing, but they take the time to write thank yous and meaningful words. I'm sure aided by teachers, but all in all, it's just wonderful, heartwarming, very heartwarming.
Wonderful, absolutely wonderful.
A few thousand cards and letters. Now, after we landed, the veterans were in for one more big surprise, the welcome home they deserved decades ago.
Wonderful. That was fantastic.
It's just, it's beyond words.
What a welcome. That's all I can say. Thank them very much.
Thank you.
And that emotional homecoming was extra special for one family. Veteran Larry Lambert was set to go on this trip, but sadly he passed away weeks before. See how his legacy was along for the journey every stop on the way. Honor Flight Southern Nevada did something during its April trip to D.C. that it's never done before. It honored a veteran who was supposed to go on the trip in a very unique way. Take a look. Vietnam veteran Larry Lambert enlisted in the U.S. Navy in 1970 after high school and served proudly. His wife says he did 3 tours in Vietnam and received a Vietnam Service Medal and Bronze Star. She recalls a plane crashing on a ship's flight deck. Larry jumped in to fight a fire, helped others, and made sure weapons ordnance wouldn't catch fire. We saw Larry at the Southwest Gate just prior to departure in April with Denise Butera of Honor Flight. As a team lead, she talked to Larry about going on the trip.
He was always so happy and excited and had lots of questions.
But shortly before the trip, Denise followed up with Larry, who said he was in the hospital. So Honor Flight was planning to move him to the October trip.
And we found out a few days later he had passed. It was a little bit of a shock. He passed on the 24th and my dad passed away on the 26th. So I have a little bit more, I guess I'm more entrenched in it.
But his passing didn't mean Larry Lambert couldn't go to D.C. in spirit. Butera asked family members if they wanted Honor Flight to bring Larry's picture to D.C. and be photographed around the memorials. Larry's son was set to go with him as his guardian. The family said yes, and off Larry went to D.C. just like the other veterans. Got a round of applause when the Honor Flight landed in Baltimore. That night, he was wheeled off the bus for dinner hosted by a VFW in Ellicott City, Maryland. The next day, Larry was with vets at the Honor Flight welcome ceremony at the World War II Memorial. Here's our group as we visited the Korean War Memorial. Larry was present for taps at the Women's Vietnam Memorial.
Larry will have a lot to talk about to his wife, because I know my dad spoke a lot to my mom when she passed.
Next, it was off to the Vietnam Veterans Memorial Wall. Larry was there for the changing of the guard at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier at Arlington National Cemetery. He visited the Marine Corps Memorial and the 9/11 Memorial, where a plane crashed into the Pentagon.
Semper Fi.
Larry then sat for a group photo at the Navy Museum, the last stop on the trip. And got a hero's welcome home at Harry Reid Airport, where he reunited with his family. Honor Flight Southern Nevada put together a montage of Larry's trip from beginning to end, living up to its name, Honor Flight Southern Nevada, and showing that decades after fighting ended for Korean and Vietnam War vets, no one gets left behind.
Thank you very much for your service, Mr. Lambert. I hope, Mr. Lambert, we were able to give you the trip you deserved.
Every time you turn around, there was Larry, and Larry Lambert was 75 years old. Honor Flight has changed lives, given our veterans a purpose, and it started with a small idea from Earl Morse, so we asked him all about it.
The Honor Flight Network was started in January 2005. Founder Earl Morse, a physician at a VA hospital, had the idea after his patients who were World War II veterans were not going to get to see their war memorial. Morse, also a pilot, was wheels up on the dream to honor them and fly them to Washington, D.C.
And sadly, they had waited 60 years and they did not have a memorial. And then finally, on Memorial Day of 2005, they finally had a memorial. And of all my World War II veterans, I'd see them out in the waiting area and I'd slap them high five and say, man, congratulations, you got a memorial. What are your thoughts on that? And every one of them said, I'm glad that we have one. I just wish my friends would have lived long enough to see it.
He wanted to change that and made the trip a reality. With the first flight having 12 World War II veterans on board, private planes, he got some help.
And 11 pilots signed up to do this. That was in January 2005. And we put together a strategy to figure out how we were going to conduct this operation.
Then a few months later, they had 8 planes, then 12, then 26. They did eventually need bigger planes to handle oxygen tanks and wheelchairs. Next, they scheduled funding for commercial airlines to fly veterans to the nation's capital.
And then all those veterans that I said, you can't go because you're in a wheelchair or you're on oxygen, I got to call them all back up again and say, you're going on a trip.
Then co-founder Jeff Miller got on board and everything really took off.
Jeff raised enough money to charter 3 jets. And it was, and then he showed everybody else how to charter jets. So it just exploded across the country. And thank you, Lord, that Jeff came along and managed his effort the way that he did. Now we are 21 years later, and we've flown about over 340,000 veterans from all across the country, and not one of them has paid a penny.
In all the years, we asked Earl what has stood out to him the most.
Ask a Vietnam veteran, what was worse? The combat that they saw in country or the way that they were treated when they came home? And it's about, I'd say, a 70-30 split. But about 70% of the veterans will say what was worse was the way we were treated when we came home.
This still stands today as we get the same response.
The big difference between the time when I was in the Navy during the Vietnam War and I would travel through an airport, it was a whole different reception then.
The team that travels with our veterans are key to making the program successful, and Earl knows that.
There's a lot of sacrifices that are made, but when you compare our sacrifices to the sacrifices that they have made, it doesn't equate. It just does not. And that's why for us, for everybody associated with Honor Flight, it is such a privilege. It's an honor to be standing with them at their memorial. And you've experienced this. Everywhere they go, they're treated like rock stars. You know, I know that on those days that we'll go to Washington, D.C., and there'll be 10 different hubs that have flown in. You can't go anywhere in Washington, D.C. and not run into an Honor Flight hub. That still does not give me a realistic impression of what it's like, because every one of those hubs had a gigantic send-off and an even bigger welcome home that's going to happen that you just can't wrap your head around it. So I quit trying. I just soak it all up, and I am so grateful. So extremely grateful.
He is often asked by veterans who want to donate to the program, and for that, he says,
you have given enough. Getting you to your memorial is all that we can do. That's all that we have left. That's all that we can do. Please don't take that from us.
You raised your hand and you swore to defend and protect our freedoms. So it doesn't matter where you served. You served, and you deserve an honor flight. You deserve the opportunity to be recognized. We want every one of you to know that your service and sacrifice matters.
We're here today because there are a lot of brave men and women who thought that we were worth it. We are worth it. This nation is worth it. And to pay them back with just a trip to their memorial, that's the least that we can do.
Again, starting with just a couple people, to date there are approximately 130 Honor Flight Network regional hubs across the U.S. And we thank you for joining us. Honor Flight Southern Nevada takes flight in April and October. To learn more about the organization and how you can get involved, visit our website, fox5vegas.com. And from all of us here at Fox 5, veterans, thank you for your service and welcome home.